Do you want to change your life? Do you want better relationships? Do you know who you are? Join Dr. Preston Rich as he helps you to change your thinking, to change your life. From the military to corporate to the classroom, Dr. Rich shares his experience and knowledge to help others be their best selves. In this fast-paced world that we live in, we tend to forget how special we are. Doc Rich says you are perfectly imperfect and uniquely amazing. Act like it. Act like it. Call in or listen in as Doc Rich speaks. Doc Rich speaks.
Hello. This is Dr. Preston Rich, your favorite professor, folks. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a good time wherever you are. I hope you're living healthy and happy. And if you're not, and you just find yourself in your own way, then hey, I can probably help you a little bit. Hey, this is the second in this series, second of the three-part series, Getting Out of Your Own Way. This is pretty much from my book, Leading from the Inside Out, that I released in 2017. Yes, I know I've been slacking. I'm supposed to have Man Law out, but some things happen, and I will have Man Law out soon. Now, I want to get right into items 6 through 10, and the third part is going to be some brand new, fresh off the presses, hot, get out of your own way tips that I'm going to give to you folks, and I'm only going to give it to the folks on the podcast. I'm not going to put it out there on Instagram or any other social media. So if you're listening to my podcast, you're going to get it first, and then you're probably going to see it again somewhere else in a brand new book after Man Law. Yes, I have lots of books in my head. All right, so let's get into it. When I started on the first podcast, we talked about getting out of your own way, steps 1 through 5. Tips 1 through 5. And the tips are, number 1, release negativity. Just to give you a review, number 1, release negativity. Number 2, learn to forgive. Number 3, Harris's law of the windshield and the rearview mirror. Number 4, to thine own self be true. Number 5, keep your mind open to receive your blessings. So today we're going to go over 6 through 10. And hopefully I'll be able to explain some things to you and make it a little more clear to kind of drive home the fact that you need to be taking care of yourself so that you can take care of those you love. All right, let's get into it. Learn things. Number 6, learn things. Now, I don't know how many of you watched the popular TV show NCIS, but on NCIS New Orleans, Dwayne Pride, the character who's in charge of NCIS New Orleans, during investigations, he instructs his team to go learn things. People, if you want to get out of your own way, one of the things that you need to do is to put yourself in a position so that you learn things. Now, when you learn things, that's what I mean is, yes, you're very smart. I'm sure all of you are very smart in your own way, just like we are. But you have to put yourself in a position to learn things. You have to put yourself in a position to have what's called a teachable spirit. Now, there's a lot of folks out here that I don't know what they're on, how they understand themselves, what kind of understanding they have of other people. I don't know, but I know that there are several people out there who have no understanding of how to be teachable. They know everything. You've probably seen them. They know everything. They've seen everything. They've done everything. They're KNOWITALL, know it all. Right. So these people are the ones who can never take constructive criticism. They can never take simple adjustments. They can never take interventions. They can never take anything that is different than the thing that they believe. So they never grow. And if you're one of those people who can never take constructive criticism, you can never have a dissenting opinion, you can never have or take someone giving you a dissenting opinion or an opinion that's not yours. If you always seek to find people who are of the same opinion than you, you may say, well, I'm just being a realist. I'm just a person who gets rid of negativity. I'm a person that floats to positivity. The thing that you need to understand is in order for you to grow, you will have to have a teachable spirit because at any given time, you can learn something. Teachable moments happen every day in everything we do. And if you're not a person who is apt to accepting those things as lessons, life lessons, then you'll miss them. And if you're going to get out of your own way, the person you need to make sure is always open for a teachable moment is yourself. Now, learning things takes on several different faces. Sometimes you're learning things when you're watching something. Sometimes you're learning things when you're listening. Sometimes you're learning things when you're reading. Sometimes you're learning things when you're writing. Sometimes you learn things whilst you're teaching. And a lot of times that's the situation that happens with me is I'm in a classroom or I'm in the front of a large group of people talking about getting out of your own way or talking about emotional intelligence or talking about critical thinking. And I find that I learn from my audience. And this is the fundamental element of understanding how to be better. If you're going to be better, you have to be open to instruction. Now, I'm not telling you to listen to everything that everybody else says and have no mind of your own. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you recognize in life where you really are and you understand where you're going, you should understand the things that you need to know that are keeping you from getting to where you go. Those are the people if you can get around people that can teach you that stuff, the stuff is missing, and you come to them openly and honestly and with open ears and closed mouth, you'll realize you will learn things. Once you start learning things that you never knew before, things that you might not think that are relevant to your life, if you put yourself around people who have lots of knowledge, if you put yourself around people who are where you want to be, and you open yourself up to learning things, eventually you'll start to see that getting out of your own way is as simple as the steps that I'm trying to show, as simple as the steps that I'm giving you in this podcast. Okay. Now, 7. And I'm not trying to sound like an elitist. I'm not trying to sound like a classist. What I am telling you is you know some people just as well as I know some people that are really not up to anything. They don't do anything except try to figure out what you're doing. They don't try anything unless, they don't ever have anything positive to add to any conversation. Okay? These are what I call minor people. Number 7, if you want to get out of your own way, don't spend major time with minor people. And when I say minor people, I mean people who are always depressed. They always have something that is not right about what they do. They always have something about their lives that just isn't right. They could be in the middle of a carnival with a bag of cotton candy and a bucket of peanuts and a gallon of Coke, all things that they love, and they still find fault in what they do. They find fault in what they're doing, and they find fault in where they're going. If you want to get out of your own way, don't spend major time with these people. If you spend major time with minor people, what happens is you become minor too. If you want to take yourself seriously, yes, take yourself seriously. But if you want to take yourself seriously and move somewhere to where you're getting out of your own way, you have to, number 1, stop spending major time with minor people. Now, if you look at it to find out your worth or what have you, if you have a job, you probably are paid a salary. If you're an independent worker, you probably understand, how much money you make or how much money you're worth. If you take that number and boil it down to something quantifiable to say, hey, I make $50 an hour or I make $100 an hour, and you realize that you spend 8 hours a week with someone or someones who are giving you no value, who are not pouring into you, who are not allowing you to pour into them, then you realize you're wasting your time. Now, if you equate that to $100 per hour and you spend 8 hours a week with this person, you're giving up $800 for what? For nothing. You find out that you're the smartest person in the room. It's never good to be the smartest person in the room. Now, I'm going to tell you why. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to get a new room. Because remember what I just told you before with number 6, you need to learn things. In order for you to get out of your own way, you need to learn things. You need to not spend major time with minor people, because when you spend major time with minor people, you don't learn things. You don't learn things, you can't get ahead. You can't get ahead, you're in your own way. Remember, I told you before that the main reason that you're not where you need to be is because of you, not because of anybody else. And if you look back and you say, well, I spent this time with that person, the key word is I. You spent this time with that person or this time with this group of people, and you realize you wasted your time that you can never get back, and you might not get paid for it right away, but if you learn to spend major time with major people, you'll learn that your time is well spent. The money that you make from your time being well spent will be well spent, and then you can go in to try to help others who are spending major time with minor people. Okay. Hey, if you ever want to follow me on Instagram, you need to go to Doc Rich Speaks, DOCSPEAKS, Doc Rich Speaks on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. However you want to find me. I'm on SoundCloud, I'm on Google Podcasts, I'm on Apple Podcasts. If you want to reach me, reach out to me on Instagram, Doc Rich Speaks. Send me an email, doc@prestonrich.com, and I'll get back with you. Or you can leave a comment on YouTube, leave a comment on Instagram, leave a comment on Facebook. I try to answer all of them. But if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, any one of these steps, or you want me to come and talk to your company or anything about anything like that, or want me to have a session with you, let me know. I'm very open to traveling, to helping people, and to help people get out of their own way. All right, we have number 6, learn things. Number 7, don't spend major time with minor people, because that goes into number 8. Show me your people, I'll tell you who you are. This is not a jab at all at the community of folks who are afflicted with drug addiction. Drug addiction is a serious thing. Mental health is a serious thing. This is by no means in any way a jab at them. If you hang around 9 crackheads, you're going to be the 10th. If you hang around 9 thieves, you're going to be the 10th. If you hang around 9 liars, you're going to be the 10th. You show me your people, I'll tell you who you are. Have you ever seen people walking around and you wonder, they're looking like a square peg, trying to fit into a round hole? That's because people, believe it or not, people make judgments based on the individuals that you hang around. So if you're around 9 people who are causing trouble, people will associate you with those folks to say, hey, well, these 9 people are hanging around and they're being loud and obnoxious and they're disturbing other people when that person's with them too. So it's all of them. Okay, it's kind of a twofer deal, right? If they're doing it, you're doing it, and you're guilty by association. If you want to get out of your own way, put yourself around people that have more in common with where you're going than where you were. I understand. Well, man, Dr. Rich, I don't want to leave my hood, or I don't want to leave my people, or I'm good where I am. And if you ever hear somebody telling you they're good where they are, that means that they're satisfied. They're satisfied where they are. They don't want to do anything different. They don't want to do anything more. And I'm not saying that staying in your current neighborhood is wrong. I'm not saying anything like that. But if you're staying in your current neighborhood and you're not enhancing your neighborhood or the people in your neighborhood, you're just there, taking up space. If you're going to stay in where you grew up, fine. Turn it around. Teach the kids. Show them how to be entrepreneurs. Show them how to save money. Show them how to influence others. The bottom line is influencing others is one of the major facts, one of the major reasons why it's good to be human, because we're social individuals. Look at all the social media, all of these people that are out on Instagram who call themselves influencers. These are like myself. We're people who are out here trying to help individuals, trying to influence them to action. Okay, and that in itself is about leadership. Understanding about leadership has to do with being able to influence another to do their best. That's transformational leadership, to where you're influencing another individual to be their best selves. And this is the kind of thing that you have to understand. It's not about money. It's not about status in the organization, status in the community. It's about how well are you influencing another person to be their best. How well are you putting down your ego to help someone else pick up theirs? It takes all kinds, but if you want to get out of your own way, put yourself around the people who have more in common with where you're going than where you came from. Now, not losing sight of where you came from, because you should always stay humble. You should always remember where you came from, because that's who you are now. Okay, you can't change that. Okay, so don't get to a situation where you say, hey, well, Dr. Rich told me to leave y'all alone and I'm going to go with something. No, I didn't say that. I said you need to spend more time with people who are associated with your future than the people who are associated with your past, especially if your past is not as nice as you would like to remember. All right, number 9, set goals. Yep, I'm the goal guy. There's a lot of people out on Instagram and Facebook and a lot of social media outlets that say, oh, you don't need to set goals. All you need to do is just go do it. Yeah, I get you. Go do it. Well, if you have no goals, dreams, aspirations, or anything of that nature, which goals and dreams and aspirations are 3 different things, but they are related. Okay, dreams are things that you don't write down. They're just things that are in your head. Aspirations are something like the same thing. Goals, however, you're more likely to accomplish your goal. You're 93% more likely to accomplish your goal if you write it down. 93% more likely to achieve your goal if you write them down. And everybody says, well, okay, I'm going to write my goal down. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I put it on my vision board. I put it on my phone. I put it on my mirror. But you didn't write it down. Okay, you put it somewhere so you can see it. Yeah, that's great. Write it down. Set goals this way. Your goals should be SMART. SMART. S stands for specific. M, measurable. A, attainable. R, results driven. T, time based. Your goals that you write down should be specific enough to measure, attainable enough for you to get results, and results driven enough for you to be able to arrive at your desired goal accomplishment at a certain time. So if you say, I want to lose weight, that's an aspiration, a dream. Okay, you don't have anything written down. It's not on paper. It's not even typed in your phone. But if you say, I want to lose 25 pounds in 3 months, that is a goal. Why? It's specific, 22 pounds. It's measurable, 22 pounds. It's attainable. Yep, an individual can probably lose 22 pounds, probably more than that in 3 months. I've seen people do that before. Results driven. Yep, the 22 pounds is how I understand. It's the results that I have are 22 pounds. I'll be 22 pounds lighter. And then time based in 3 months. Time driven in 3 months. Time based 3 months. That's a goal. Hey, I want to lose weight. Dream. I want to lose 25 pounds in 3 months. Goal. If you want to get out of your own way, make sure you set and accomplish goals. And finally, number 10. Now, this is one that you've probably seen on my taglines a lot. You've seen on my tchotchkes, my things that I give away, my pens, my bags, and if you guys want anything, you want a pen, want a bag, want a book, write me, let me know. I'll get it right out to you. Number 10, if you want to get out of your way, change your thinking to change your life. Now, I know that sounds cliche. A lot of people are like, oh, you change your mind, yep. Reason why is because it's true. Change your thinking, change your life. If you change the way you think, you change what you're destined to become. Because your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. If you want to change your destiny, change the way you think. Thinking is the elemental or foundational component of life. The most important thing that you have these days is your brain. If you don't believe me, go to an assisted living house or his assisted living place and sit down in the Alzheimer's room or sit down with an Alzheimer's patient, and you'll understand how precious and powerful the mind is. People, in order for you to get out of your own way, you've got to fix your mind to think positive. You've got to fix your mind to be empathetic. You have to fix your mind to allowing yourself to be open, or allowing yourself to be vulnerable, or allowing yourself to have an open mind so that you can actually learn things, so you can have a teachable spirit. A lot of people run around and they say they're going to change their thinking, but they don't do anything differently. Okay, if you change your thinking, you're learning how to be intellectually humble, meaning you should have a firm grasp of what you don't know. If you don't believe me, get a piece of paper, think about somebody that you know fairly well. On the left side of the page, write down everything that you know about them. And on the right side of the page, write down everything that you don't know about them. Once you get halfway down the list of the things you know about them and you start working on the things that you don't know about them, you'll see that you'll have a big mismatch. Unless you actively think about what you don't know, you'll never have an understanding. You'll never be intellectually humble. You won't be able to practice intellectual humility. In order for you to practice intellectual humility, I can't say it today, you should have a firm grasp of what you don't know. And then go try to find out what you don't know. Or you could say, hey, you know what, I really don't need to know that. You have to be intellectually empathetic. Yes. What does empathy have to do with thinking? A lot. In order for you to make firm decisions or make better decisions, in order for you to make decisions that are easy and fair, being fair-minded, which is the goal of all critical thinking, you have to be able to be intellectually empathetic to where you can understand. I didn't say you had to agree with the other side, but you should understand the other side enough to say, hey, I see how that person said that. I understand where they're coming from. And that's the whole gist of trying to, for us to try to understand each other in this unfair world. Everyone thinks differently. Well, I hope everyone thinks differently. Everyone has a different way of going about getting the things that they need. If you're intellectually empathetic, or you practice intellectual empathy, you'll always be able to come to every situation with an open mind and be able to see the other side and be able to make better decisions. Remember, this is all a part of changing your thinking. Lastly, in changing your thinking, or the least thing, one of the things that you have to have as a minimum is intellectual fair-mindedness. You've got to be fair. Now, I know that's hard for some people. Being fair, oh my goodness. Some people don't understand about being fair. They want to have their way and you can just go catch a flight somewhere. They don't care. You have to be able to, you have to be able to ensure that you are practicing intellectual fair-mindedness to where you can see the other side of intellectual empathy. You don't have to agree with the other side, but you have to think fairly. You have to be able to think on both sides of the spectrum, meaning you have to be able to think on the side that you don't agree with, and you have to be able to think on the side that you do agree with. And somewhere in the middle, you figure it out. You figure out that, you know what, it's not really my way, it's not really their way, it's our way. And in order for you to be able to negotiate yourself or collaborate yourself into a solution for conflict, you have to be intellectually fair-minded. So there you have it, folks. That's the 6 through the 10. Number 6, learn things. Number 7, don't spend major time with minor people. Number 8, show me your people, I'll tell you who you are. Number 9, set goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, results-driven, and time-based. And number 10, change your thinking to change your life. Because your thoughts become your words become your actions become habits becomes character becomes your destiny. And the only way you'll be able to do that is if you practice intellectual humility, intellectual empathy, and intellectual fair-mindedness. People, I hope that you stick with me on this series. Some things you probably know already, some things you probably didn't. I hope that I gave you something. I hope that I gave you some way to learn something. I hope I brought something to the table other than a bunch of hot air. Folks, if you need to reach me again, you need to hit me at Doc Rich Speaks on all social media outlets. Get me on Google Podcasts. Get me on Apple Podcasts. Get me on SoundCloud. Hit me on Twitter, Facebook, Doc Rich Speaks. Hey, understand, folks, just like the intro says, you're perfectly imperfect and uniquely amazing. Act like it. I love you all.
You've been listening to the Doc Rich Speaks podcast. We hope we've stimulated your mind and inspired you to be your best self today. If you've enjoyed the show, tell some friends and join us next time on this same station. You can follow Dr. Rich on Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, and Instagram at Doc Rich Speaks. You can download this podcast on Apple, Google Play, or SoundCloud as well. In the meantime, and in between time, remember, you are perfectly imperfect and uniquely amazing. So just be great every day.